round three. We're starting again. This is a stream. I'm just gonna make this work. I'm also gonna record it on my computer so I can turn this into clips for other content. And just creating content is a lot of work, so being live and just doing all this at once is a lot easier. So please excuse all the mistakes, and we're here. We're gonna go over some news and different things that have been happening in the markets. So yeah, it's been some interesting times. So let's start off with some interesting news, the bad news. And if we look, Trump tariffs live updates, because we need live updates because they keep changing. So China raised its total retaliatory tariffs on U.S. imports from 120 to 125%. And that's because Trump made his tariffs 145%. So yeah, they just keep getting higher, and now it's just a meme. It's just don't buy anything because you don't know how much it's gonna cost today, tomorrow, or you know, whatever happens and how long it's gonna happen. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. And more on that, because of these potential tariffs, Apple airlifts 600 tons of Apple airlifts 600 tons of iPhones from India to beat the Trump tariffs. Apple said to be flying iPhones from India to the US to avoid tariffs. How Apple flew 5 flights full of iPhones from India and China. Now, a lot of this news is worded in a way where if it happened, they got to say it happened, but it's also worded in a way where, like, if it did not happen, they have an out, you know? Apple said to be flying. How Apple allegedly flew because of the quotation marks. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And we kind of know Apple as an eco-friendly brand, which is why they stopped giving you power bricks, which is why they went very minimal. But it's interesting, if they did do this, they weren't very environment friendly, and they're more profit friendly, which we all really knew anyway, so that's fine. So some other news, I got some bookmarks here. Weekly news from CoinMarketCap. I thought these were pretty good this week in memes. Trump says ape now, Conor McGregor coin KO'd. So we'll go into this very quickly. The meme coin market cap is meme coin market cap down 5%, but rebounds 16% from lows. DeFi Llama ranks memes 5th, outperforming BTC, ETH, NFTs, and the 30-day trajectory. Now, that is just a tough one. Meme coin trading is very unpredictable. Chain performance. Fartcoin had a fantastic week. So I guess that's why meme coins are getting a lot of attention, while a lot of coins are struggling, as well as all the markets, with good reason, because if there is a lot of market uncertainty, if prices are going up due to inflation, not a lot of people are going to have money to invest in speculative things like cryptocurrency or even the stock market. So a lot of people are moving to safer assets. Bitcoin, still unclear if that is going to be a safer asset, but we speculate. We're here under regulatory scrutiny. Argentina's Chamber of Deputies launches formal Libra investigations. That is the meme coin of the Argentina president. $280 million in losses affected 75,000 investors. Now, this was like a one-day rug. So 75,000 people invested on day one, and that was in losses of up to 280 million. I don't know if that necessarily is the right number, but that is pretty impressive. 3 resolutions passed: investigative commission, official questioning, detailed reporting. And then we have a new celebrity token that launched this week that I did not even hear about until I read these updates. McGregor's real coin raises 392,000 instead of their $1 million goal. All funds refunded despite KuCoin Labs and Animoca backing. Melania team allegedly sells $30 million in community tokens. Bubble Maps reports transfers to exchanges and token sales. So yeah, celebrity tokens, not great. I don't think there has been a successful one in a while. I think the most successful one for a very short time was the one by Iggy Azalea, and we saw how that turned out. She was really hyping it up last year at Token 2049 Singapore. They had like strippers in Singapore. They imported them. Zusu got recorded at that event, and he gave the cameraman a look like, "Are you seriously recording, bro?" I think that is a funny clip if we can find that, but we're not. We're just gonna keep moving forward. But speaking of Zusu, I thought this was fantastic. These are the top 20 worst accounts on all of crypto Twitter on the new leaderboard by Ethos Network. Great to see Malay, president of Argentina, Andrew Tate, and Mario Nawfal twice making the list. Love the concept and glad we're finally slashing the reputations of some personalities who still somehow have credibility on X. So these are the most dangerous people to follow if you are a crypto investor, because very likely if you're following them, they're using you to make money while you lose money. So I'd be very careful, and this is a very good list to look for, and maybe you follow them to see what they're tweeting, what they're talking about, and just be the counter trade to that. That could be an opportunity if we play it that way, since their reputation is terrible and they're known for not the most legitimate projects that don't last a long time. And it's actually really hard to criticize some of these people just because it can be dangerous. So let's go. I think we got some comments. I actually really liked this thing about the tariffs, so we're gonna watch this briefly, and let me get the audio up.
I pull out a gun and I start pointing at you guys. Say, I'm gonna shoot you, right? And A-Truck, you say, hey, please don't shoot me, right? Please don't. I'll do whatever you want. And Aiden pulls out his own gun and says, I'll shoot you back if you shoot me. Don't fucking do that. And I put the gun away and I say, that was a test. Aiden, you're not a good friend. I'm only hanging out.
That is a perfect.
So that's pretty much the situation with tariffs, and we're gonna go over some of your questions. We're gonna go over some of the thoughts on the market, and yeah, just gonna hang out. I think it's just more fun to, chat and see what's been going on in the market. I know the chat is just gonna keep appearing twice. That is just my issue, because I don't know how to set it up, and that's what happens. All right, so Boan, what do you think of Solana? I think Solana still has a large community. If you have a large community within a blockchain, that's where developers want to go. That creates the opportunity. And I think it's best to think of it like Amazon. So Amazon has a lot of customers. Amazon has a lot of retailers. They created this ecosystem to bring both of those markets together. And Solana is doing that too with developers and users, which is why a lot of people go to Solana and not other blockchains. People don't want to speculate on another layer 2 blockchain where, a developer has to commit time and effort to it, and that blockchain might not be successful. It might not bring in users, and that's why there's still a lot of potential in Solana. But it depends, I think Solana is great for speculating because they launched the most meme coins. And hopefully they launch something where it's just a lot of opportunity, where you can invest in something long term, but for the most part, things are going to be very short term. From Martin, because I can't say his first name. Hey Dan, how you doing? How are you doing today? I'm doing okay. I know the markets have been rough, and I kind of just want to make content more just because I've been losing money in the markets, and maybe I'll take content creation a little more seriously just because I know it's kind of been revealed to me how much other content creators make, and I was like, wow, I'm super poor. I have not been making content, but I don't like making stuff that dumps on my viewers, but I want to make things where you can get value, you can get insights, and there are some platforms that actually pay a lot for that. If it's just, this is just what I heard under the table. Some of the biggest platforms, like Mario Nawfal, charges like allegedly charges like $50,000 just for a Twitter space. This is just what I've heard from marketing chats, where the ROI isn't just worth it. It's just a lot of money being burned, and they really target like X because that's where the crypto users are, that's where the degens are, and that's where the most speculation is. So maybe I can make something where we have a good reputation, and we we all grow together. Thoughts on could run pure absurdity to $250 million market cap. Also has Bitcoin topped this cycle. Yeah, interesting. Maybe meme coins are the only thing people can flock to right now, just because, you know, there's no VCs, there's not really any devs. It's just pure vibes. So that's kind of been my theory for a while, where these communities can really pump up these coins where you don't have as many insiders dumping on you. So I think that's the balance between meme coins and non-meme coins, where yes, you have the utility, you have these different things that drive value, but for the most part, if there's no demand, it's just really all marketing. So I think that's why you know, you have meme coins and non-meme coins, and it takes these like nuanced reasonings and looking into these deeply to see why they succeed or not. Now, someone mentioned Fartcoin is unintentionally their biggest bag. Yeah, I get that. People want to ride momentum. People want to make money in crypto, and it's really hard to predict what's going to happen in the short term. But yeah, Fartcoin has that momentum. It has that hot air rising, as they say. So, you know, I can't really say what's going to happen, but they're fun, they're speculative, and you can trade these things. Has Bitcoin topped this cycle? Thoughts? I think it has. I think Bitcoin has topped. We'll have to wait and see if it actually becomes a digital gold, a reserve currency. I think Michael Saylor posted something about, if the market continues to drop, I'm going to have to sell some Bitcoin to stay alive. And, you know, just a paraphrased way of saying that. So that could be really bad for markets if Saylor starts selling due to the price dropping. Just because I think his average is around $66,000. The price kind of dipped to like 74,000 for a little bit, and the markets got very scared about that. So if Saylor starts selling, yeah, we topped and it's bad, and you want to be holding something else. So we'll have to wait and see. But, you know, with these global market conditions, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of people who are struggling with the prices, struggling to get jobs. So they're not going to be investing in meme coins. They can't. That's like too risky. So, you know, when people have job security, when they can afford things, that's when they might have enough funds to speculate in the meme coin market, in cryptocurrency in general. And that's probably not going to happen in any time soon, just because of the tariffs. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Putting profits into JLP, a good idea? Yeah, that is the Jupiter liquidity pool. Best stable yields right now. Possibly. I actually haven't looked at what's happening in the stable coin, in the JLP for Jupiter. Let's take a look while I bring that up. Wow. 41%. That's really good. Yeah, the APY, the Jupiter liquidity pool, is a liquidity pool where it acts as a counterparty to traders. When traders seek to open leverage positions, they borrow tokens from the pool. The JLP token is the liquidity provider token, where its value is derived from an index fund of SOL, ETH, WBTC, USDC, USDT, traders' profit and loss. 75% of the fees generated from opening and closing fees, price impact borrowing. I mean, yeah, 41% is pretty sick. They do have a solid ecosystem and value driven for that 41%. I know Jupiter has been around for a few years, so there is some safety in that. So it could be the opportunity to hedge for the time being, to either short or to at least hold some stables to earn that yield. It's really hard to tell what's going to happen in the future, but yeah, that is a really solid yield without speculating in a new platform, just giving you, you know, tokens that don't have any value yet. So I think, yeah, that's a pretty good platform. Let's see what else we got here. Are you DCAing into any alts? No, I am not DCAing into any altcoins right now. I am doing like 1x shorts for the most part in a lot of different coins, just because market conditions aren't good until we see some pumping. But yeah, I'm looking at the macro environments. You can't really look at the charts for any specific cryptocurrency right now, just because if the global environment pumps or dumps, well, then yeah, you kind of you're not going to do very well. At least that's been my experience. So I'm kind of just waiting things out. I still have a lot of cryptocurrencies that I'm holding. Um, I haven't sold a lot of what I have been holding. You know, I still, my biggest bags are probably in the Sui ecosystem, because if I believe in crypto long term, I see a lot of development there. If I'm bearish on cryptocurrency in general, I'm doing 1x shorts on things I don't think have a lot of utility. And I kind of mentioned that in a previous video. And yeah, I actually got some interesting news on some things we'll go over in a moment. That's good. Will Ethereum hit an all-time high in 2025 or 2026? I don't know. That is a tough one. I don't think Ethereum has the momentum anymore, just because it's been bad for the last few years. So we'll have to see. I think Ethereum is working on some new upgrades. But a lot of the traders have left. A lot of the developers support other chains just because they get the incentives to do that. So it's going to be tough. The only way for Ethereum to hit new all-time highs is if traditional finance really, really jumps into it, you know, as much as Bitcoin. So we'll have to wait and see. I am not holding that much ETH because I don't believe in it as much. So I think there are other opportunities out there. Do you think we are in a recession? Absolutely. I think we are really headed into a recession. Outlook looks bad. Tariffs are at 145% from the US, 125% from China, at least just between those things. So yeah, there's too much uncertainty. People are just going to hold what they have and just kind of wait out what the market conditions until they improve. So we'll have to wait and see. Are you still holding BROT? I haven't sold any BROT. Now, I still believe in AI content generation, just because I think that's the next new thing where, you know, people just want to veg out. They just want to watch some gameplay and then AI could do it. So I think, you know, there is an opportunity in AI gameplay and AI content creation. I know the team is still building. I met them in Hong Kong in March, and that was just last month. It feels like a really long time ago. But you know, I don't want to shill anything because the market conditions are bad. The coin went down, even though it's something I believe in. But you know, you can't guarantee these things will go up. So I don't want to shill anything, but I do believe in AI content generation. Where are the likes, fam? Oh yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you, mayonnaise. Fartcoin. Glad to hear it. Still holding BROT. Yeah, I didn't sell any. I still have it. I believe in it. If not, I kind of just heard that this might open up the opportunity to some other launches with what the team is building with their VTubing software. So I think that is going to be the next thing, just because, you know, AI content generation and VTubers, a lot of people want to create content, but they don't want to dox themselves. So I do see that as an opportunity. But if you're going to make money, there's kind of no guarantee, just because it is a small team and they don't have like the marketing resources as bigger teams. And for them to succeed, they'd really have to drive the demand for it as a startup. So we'll wait and see. And now we'll get into a little more news that I thought was interesting. So I minted this. This was a free mint by Sonium. Anime and IP are part of the culture. Now it's on chain on Sonium. The Anime Art Festival is live, built by San Fran Tokyo's Anime ID, the Anime Foundation, and powered by Mocha Network's AirKit, exclusively on Sonium by Sony. Yes, by Sony Block Solution Labs. Okay, that's a long name, but Sonium is an affiliate. Sonium is a part of the Sony Corporation, and they have this IP, or intellectual property, collaboration with Solo Leveling. So you can mint this for free. I don't think you're going to make any money off it, but I minted it for free, so I just wanted to share that. It's a solo leveling Otherworld San Fran Tokyo collab. Yeah, you can see that I minted it. Thank you for your support. You can find it on the Sonium, yeah, the official Sonium X account, and they posted it 2 days ago. So you might want to check that out. And I do like how Sonium, they do own intellectual property for different animes. They work with a lot of different things. So if IP is going to be on chain, I believe Sonium is going to do it, and a little less in Story Protocol, where it's more speculative, where it's more like maybe smaller creators, where you have a large audience for solo leveling, for anime in general, and if they're building on Sonium, then that's where the opportunities are going to be. Then we got some other news, and we'll get into that. I thought this was really funny. Data availability comparison guide, where they go into the DA layers of Celestia, EigenDA, Avail, Ethereum. And yeah, that sounds great. It's all this different security, but it's really just marketing. You get generally the same type of experience. I don't know if like a few seconds is going to matter to most people, but yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys think, is this going to make you invest in a blockchain if its data availability layer is fast enough, or their sampling, or their total value secured? I don't know. So if they use fraud proofs or validity proofs, or which chains are using it, for me, I'm thinking like, yeah, this is just kind of marketing. I don't know how much money is actually going to move to these blockchains because of their data availability. So we'll have to wait and see. I know Eigen has been a mess since they launched. They had a lot of hype, but no one uses it. The coin has been down only. They were valued in the billions, and yeah, these are things I think of when a blockchain is marketed to me. Is there actually going to be any demand for it, or are they creating some narrative to build up hype, even though that narrative might not make a significant difference to users or to developers? So we'll have to wait and see. This is one of the most interesting things I saw. So today, Ethereum developer Virgil Griffith released from prison after serving 63 months for violating US sanctions with a 2019 speech in North Korea on blockchain use. So if you're not familiar with Virgil Griffith, he was working for the Ethereum Foundation. He was a big blockchain advocate, and he was just teaching everyone how to get into the blockchain. Now in 2019, he went to North Korea to speak about blockchain. And he was living in Singapore at the time. He was with the Ethereum Foundation, and the Ethereum Foundation said, don't go, do not go to North Korea. The US Embassy also said, don't go, do not go to North Korea to give this speech. Virgil goes to North Korea, gives this speech, helps North Korea get into blockchain. He gets back to Singapore. He reports himself to the embassy and says, oh, hey guys, I went to North Korea and I taught them blockchain. And you know what happened? He went to jail. He went to jail, and he just got released. So he served 63 months. That's about 5 years and 3 months. And he's out now. So that's great. We'll see what happens. He could have been the cause of North Korea and Lazarus and all these hacks happening, just because North Korea saw like, oh, there's a lot of vulnerabilities here. Oh, there's a lot of money here. So yeah, Virgil Griffith, he's out. Hopefully Lazarus gives him a cut of some of the billions they took just to, hook this guy up. He served a lot of time in jail. Hopefully he has a good life in North Korea. They hook him up for, bringing up their entire GDP for the last few years. Then this other post by ZachXBT happened last week. So Coinbase, the future of money is more open, free, efficient, and it's powered by crypto. The future of money, okay. You have now locked me out of my account twice in the past month for no given reason. Again today, so that's 3 times. You had customer data leaks you have yet to transparently disclose, led to thefts. And ZachXBT cannot recommend Coinbase as an exchange to anyone, even though they offer decent APRs on stables, which is like 4%. So if you hold USDC on Coinbase and you just hold it in your account, that's 4%, which isn't that bad. But the bad thing is customer data leaks that they have been covering up, which leads to hacks, which leads to murders. Basically, a lot of danger for you if you are a crypto holder in Coinbase. So I think that is the worst thing about KYC, where you have to provide your identity, your address, your phone number, and if that information gets leaked along with your balance, you become a target and it's very dangerous. Now, this also happened with Ledger a few years ago, and people were receiving like spam emails saying the hacker or threatener knows where they live and threaten people for their cryptocurrency. So be careful out there if you are a crypto holder. I lost a lot of money in crypto recently due to bad decisions. So I'm broke and I can share these thoughts. And I also live in Taiwan, which is pretty safe. But yeah, if you kind of look at what I've been making, I haven't been doing a lot of sponsorships or profitable. So please don't rob Dan. Moving on, how crypto companies go bankrupt. I thought this was another interesting insight to the developer, the project economy, and by DeFi Ignis, who is a pretty awesome content creator. Yesterday, I learned that Favor, a social media app, had closed operations with all socials gone. Token down 99% since TGE in September. I had high hopes for Favor, merging Lens and Farcaster ecosystems with 35,000 daily active users and 800,000 downloads. At peak, they had 50% of Lens traffic, 20% at Farcasters, and they messed up with the TGE and airdrop. It led to portal failures, caused FUD. Overall, they overpaid for sex listings, paid over $1 million for listing their token. Ex-employees said the team decided not to sell any tokens at TGE. Favor ran out of funds as a Finnish company. It also had to pay employees during the 1 to 2 month notice period. All this despite raising $8 million at an $80 million valuation from Polygon Ventures. A common story in crypto. Now, I bring this up because we also have to think about, does a project have enough money to survive? Are they burning money through? Burning money too quickly? And are they using their money efficiently? Because I think about this when I go to crypto conventions and they have these extravagant events where they're spending tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think, like, are they going to survive? Are they just doing this to hype things up? Are they getting a return on their investment? Because if you're at one of these events like Token or Singapore, if you have a booth, that's at least $10,000. If you have a bigger booth, that could be like $40,000. If you're speaking on stage, on the main stage, that could be like $10,000. So it really all depends, and they kind of aren't transparent with how much they're spending and what kind of ROI they're getting, just because, you know, a lot of these events I don't think are converting into any kind of profitable thing. Now, speaking on Favor again, they reached out to me like over a year ago to participate in their KOL round at a $100 million valuation. Oh man. So that's the thing with like KOL deals. Like, I don't do those just because they're always terrible. And you know, if you're a KOL getting in one of these deals, it's just going to be bad. The KOL round is the worst round you can get in because you have the least potential profit, where if they launch and they don't meet their expectations, you already lost money, but you're also committed to promoting that project for at least the next 6 months. So it's just, you lose money, you lose time, and yeah, if you are a content creator, at least a small content creator, it's gonna be bad. And you know, I consider myself a pretty small content creator, depending on you know, how much views you get, which isn't that much. So I'd say if you are a KOL or a person like considering some of this stuff, you don't want to be too early to any type of project. It's better to wait and see like what kind of demand there is, what kind of momentum, because anytime you're early, it's very, very dangerous, or it ends up being bad. All right, let's go into some of the comments. I've seen a few YouTubers trying to pump DA Celestia recently. I mean, I'm sure they're holding bags too, so they want to believe in something. I think that demand for that is tough because maybe there's better incentives for projects building to be on other larger ecosystems. So yeah, that's what's been going on. Other news, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, we can chat about it. We've been streaming for like 40 minutes, which is pretty good. Um, we can go over the news, but it's pretty boring. Yeah, I got nothing left. I think that's it for the stream, unless you guys got questions. But for my plan right now, pretty bearish. I think it's just safe to do these shorts on other projects, just 1x if possible. I recently mentioned shorting, what was it, prompt. Oh, I got stopped out and liquidated. So I did not believe it was going to go up that high, but the AI sector pumped and lost money. I still think it's going to go down long term, so I'm just going to wait for another opportunity once momentum dies down. And when we think of things like this, new projects typically might have 3 months of budget after they launch. So that's when the hype starts dying down. That's when you can start shorting a couple of projects that are leading up to 3 months that I have been following are Story Protocol and Nillion. I think they're both around maybe 2 months, 2.5 months, where the hype is starting to die down. And that can create an opportunity if you're shorting, just because I don't think there's a lot of demand. I know that differs for a lot of people believing in their intellectual property, but does it make money? Is it worth billions? So as full value Dan, you kind of want to look, is something valued fairly? Is it overvalued? Is it undervalued? And those are just things I'm considering right now. So I think it's overvalued. A lot of things in crypto are definitely overvalued, but if you have that hype and that momentum, it could go up. But you don't want to ever be too early to something, because you don't know what's going to happen, because there can be a lot of manipulation when it comes to market makers and other things behind the scenes. So if we look at sector movers here, this is so value. You can kind of see what's been happening. Most of the dominance is in Bitcoin and layer ones. If we look at the 24-hour change, AI at 5% has been doing the best as far as sectors, while SocialFi has been down. Let's take a look at SocialFi and all right, is there anything in SocialFi we can invest in or short? I wanted to short Ton just because they've been established for so long. Maybe I'll look for something something a little newer. So yeah, those are just things I'm considering. Now we go to some of the chat here. What do you think about running your own nodes? I think it's dangerous because those don't make money. There's really no demand for it. A lot of people want to sell you nodes, validators, mining machines to secure networks to fund things. For the most part, I don't think any of those has been successful long term. Maybe Helium, but that is like a rare exception, and a lot of people thought it was gonna not survive. And Helium actually partnered with AT&T recently, so good for them. I think that's what happened, or it was something, or it was Chirp Network. But a lot of the times, even if they have these big partnerships and hype, they don't make money. So if you're early, yes, it definitely makes money. But for the most part, no. I think you should look at some of the videos about running nodes from like 2 or 3 years ago and see how some of those projects went. Yeah, most of them went to zero, most of them disappeared. Everyone wants to sell you something and say it has value, but for the most part, it goes down. So I'd be very careful with that. Are you still running your virtual AI bot? Not really. It's pretty time consuming, and I think there's so many different things happening where it's so hard to drive value to things. But I am still messing around with things, or I guess vibe coding on the side. Some other apps. It's challenging, but it's also kind of fun. I feel like it's kind of a video game where you don't necessarily know what you're doing, but you get these small achievements when little pieces start working together. But I don't think it's going to be very profitable because I don't really have the experience to do any of that unless I get an actual developer. I do have an idea for something that I think would be awesome, but we'll have to wait and see if I can make that happen. Let's see. Hey, bro, can you check out Vanar? All right, let's do that. We got time for that. Oh, it's a chain, huh? Vanar chain. The groundbreaking blockchain Vanar offers a green, high-speed, low-cost L1 chain designed for AI, PayFi, and the mainstream. I'm gonna pass on this. I'm sorry. It's too early. Once you're a blockchain, you're in an incredibly competitive space. I think for actual L1s, L2s, L3s, there's a couple thousand of them. Most of them go to zero. And, you know, who's going to build on here, right? People want to build where the party is at. They want to go to the biggest blockchains like Solana, Sui, Arbitrum, Ethereum, Optimism, things like that. They want to be in ecosystems where they can work with other things. Maybe they do that. I think this hits all the buzzwords: groundbreaking, blockchain, green, high speed, low cost, AI, PayFi, mainstream. So it hits a lot of the buzzwords, but maybe we can dive into it a little more since I got time and I like hanging out. So we'll see. Let's check it out. Web3 for billions of consumers. I mean, this number doesn't really matter. Low cost doesn't really matter. Just because you can fake transactions, but like what's happening on there that's going to drive demand. You know, everything is like low cost, fast, and scalable these days, where that's not enough to bring a user on. I wouldn't really use any of these as as an endorsement, because you know these are exchanges, these are infrastructure stuff. Okay, maybe they use Nvidia, maybe they use Google Cloud, maybe their coin is supported by these exchanges. So if you look at use cases, Vanar ecosystem, data-driven, regulatory compliance, real-time reporting. You know, I think these are a lot of buzzwords. If you look at enough blockchains and how they market things, they all start looking the same. But what really matters is, are there people using it, and do people enjoy using it? Do developers want to be there? If developers don't want to be there, you're not going to have any users. So those are just things to consider. And we got our chat here, but it's also in the lower left. So yeah, just things to consider. What do you think about Movement Labs forking off Aptos using Move language and has an EVM connection? Yeah, there was, if you're in the crypto Twitter algorithm of people bashing Movement Labs, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad about what's been going on there. The coin price, I think it's because they launched their coin without a mainnet, and that lost a lot of trust in people. So let's take a look at the chart, and yeah, it's down. It's down a lot. So this is pretty typical of most charts where, you know, within the first few months, there's a lot of hype. So we can see here, launched December 9, at least their token, peaked a month later, and then we had a slow decline, and we still have a little bit of pumping. So that's after about 2 months now, and then 3 months have passed, and it just keeps dropping. So I don't know if there's a lot of potential here. We'll have to wait and see. Pretty much they use Move, the programming language where you get these parallel transactions, and that's lets you do multiple things at once, especially on EVM. So maybe instead of swapping, you can swap, you can stake, you can borrow against that all at once, which makes the DeFi experience a lot better. But if we look at the token price, there has not been a lot of demand. The FDV is still pretty high. So we'll have to wait and see what happens if they develop anything that actually gains traction, that gains users, that builds up hype again. Now, I chatted with someone from their team in March during Consensus Hong Kong. They said they were building some things. There was a lot of hype. I know one project there, Sentiment. They do like blockchain memories onto real-world jewelry, but they're building on Movement because they got a grant from them, and they're also doing the the data storage on Walrus, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if I kind of leaked that information, but you know, all that most of that stuff is public if you follow some of these things happening. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm glad that they're still building and active, but that price is not good, and that's kind of just for the global markets. So let's see what else we got here. I hope you didn't short prompt. I did, and it did not go well. I took some profits, and then I had some stop losses in the profits, and then I took another stab at it, and it kept pumping over 100%, and I was like, what is happening to this coin? So my real theory is to short long term, and you know, you don't want to get involved in too much volatility early on. So, you know, when a coin launches, it is going to dump within the first few hours, and then you can potentially have market makers pumping up that coin, liquidating those shorts. So it's better to wait like a month and a half, 2 months, and then catch them on that long decline with low leverage. So that is my plan, and that's what I'm doing for a couple coins. Any thoughts on liquid staking SWI? I'm doing that. I like SWI. That is, if I believe in blockchain, I believe in SWI. I think that's my personal theory. I'm staking SSWI or Spring SWI on SWIland, so that is just earning me some points, additional interest. It works. I'm borrowing against it a little bit for a little leverage. Maybe, you know, instead of 1x, I'm at like 1.1, 1.2x. Not too much leverage. I'm not trying to get liquidated there. Let's see. Bro, you missed the last post. I was talking about their event, April 30th. Checking it out. It's their latest post. Is that Van? Oh, okay. Let's check out Vanar's latest posts. Whoop. New enterprise validator, was that it? No. Web3 is happening in Pakistan for real with support from Google Cloud. Google Cloud does support a lot of different blockchains, so I used to think that was kind of bullish, but they just want to be the service provider for a lot of these blockchains because they make money from that. Vanar is empowering the country's top builders through our Web3 Leadership Fellowship, or Leaders Fellowship. This week's Builder Mixer brought together the teams to sharing ideas and vision, talking through challenges, connecting with mentors and each other. Infrastructure, AI, data, real use cases, not theory, execution. Built in Pakistan, built on Vanar. So Vanar Vision, Vanar Neutron, AI. Okay. Didn't really change my opinion too much. Let's see. Hello from Egypt. I'd say rewatch the stream, support the channel. That'd be awesome. Bro, we are working on a project called Alpha Block AI. All right. Good luck to you guys. You know, everything is a value game. You get too much VCs, that can be something overvalued. You don't get too many investments, but you're building something interesting, then there's a lot of value there. So that's kind of how I see things, but obviously, anytime you're early, lots of risk. Polyhedra launched a while back under the ticker ZK, but had to change to ZKJ after ZK Sync took the ticker. But as ZK went to 0, ZKJ just kept going up. What's going on there? I think that's kind of fascinating. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's pretty good. So since November, it's held up pretty well. I actually don't know that much about Polyhedra Network. I've seen them at events, but you know, ZK is pretty boring. To be honest with it, it's just boring. It's just, what are we doing with it? You know, what can I do with it as a user besides believe in it and hope the price goes up? So let's see. It's very cold here. It's like a doctor's office. Introducing EXP chain, the everything chain for AI. The global AI market is projected to contribute 15 trillion to the economy by 2030. So this is just kind of like saying, hey, there's an opportunity here. $15 trillion, guys. EXP chain is responsible for the foundation layer of AI apps. I mean, I feel like you said a lot, but didn't say a lot at the same time. So it's more like you kind of got to jump into things to understand. And these are not clickable links or anything. That brings you to examples. Pretty large ecosystem. Yeah, I guess so. Now, the interesting thing is, if you look at any of the portfolios for these main backers, they're down. If you invested when these coins launched, they're down. Obviously, they made money. They got in much earlier than everyone. They sold. Maybe they did market sales publicly. Most of the time, they do OTC trades under the table where they'll give someone a discount on their locked tokens, and that person can't sell for a few months. These are just things I've heard from VCs. So I don't have a lot of trust in things in crypto anymore. But I think Polyhedra's been around. Actually, it's been less than a year. All right. So we'd have to also see their lockups. Okay, 10% available from a fully diluted valuation of 2.25 billion. Something. I'm only a little interested. Like, all right, maybe I follow. They've survived a year. You know, I think this is their 3 months drop, and then they're picking back up. So we'll have to see. Maybe a deeper dive to find out what people like them, what people are building on them, and to see if there's value. So something to consider. Let's see, Polly. Can you do a quick review and give us feedback, by the way? We are still developing for Alpha Block AI. If you guys are still developing, it's probably too early for any type of review, and it's going to be taken too personally, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. All right, I think we made it like 46 minutes. I don't know why that felt longer. I think it's a lot harder to stream by myself than chatting with someone, because that makes it a lot easier. And yeah, I do appreciate you guys hanging out, and we're gonna hang out again maybe tomorrow if I get another guest. So yeah, maybe if you leave in the YouTube comments, not the chat, what you want to see reviewed maybe tomorrow or the next stream, or potential guests. I'd rather just chat with people, find out what they're building, even you front man, and talk to you about Alpha Block AI and what people are building. That makes it easier. What are they building and why, and what opportunity is there for you as the retail investor? So that's it. We're gonna cut this stream off, and I'm gonna go get some brunch, because it's a little too late for breakfast, a little too early for lunch, and that's my time for today. Appreciate you guys, and I'll be back tomorrow, maybe. And I tried streaming for the first time to multiple platforms, so there was a lot of issues there. We'll see how that turned out. It was on, yeah, Twitch and Instagram Live. You know, build out those socials. I don't know how long X is going to be around, and I think it's time to get set up on other socials.